Hello and welcome to Money Matters, the show that discusses the financial topics that affect us all. Today we're asking a very important question. Should our tax system be simpler? Specifically, should people pay taxes on all of their income, without any of the deductions or special rules we have now? It's a big idea with strong opinions on both sides. On one side, some say it would make taxes fairer and easier to understand for everyone. On the other side, some argue that those deductions are necessary tools that help our economy grow and support families. To discuss this, we have two fantastic guests. First, Maria, a social policy advocate who believes we should tax all income. Welcome, Maria.
Thank you for having me, Leo.
And second, David, a small business owner and financial advisor who thinks tax deductions are essential. Welcome, David.
It's a pleasure to be here, thank you.
We'll start with opening statements, followed by a detailed discussion, and finish with closing thoughts. So let's begin. Maria, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Leo. I want to start with a single powerful idea: fairness. Our tax system today is incredibly complicated. It's a book with thousands of pages of rules. And honestly, most people can't understand all of them. This complexity isn't just an accident. It creates a serious problem. It creates what we call loopholes, special pathways that allow people with a lot of money to pay less tax. Think about it. If you're very wealthy, you can afford to hire teams of expensive lawyers and accountants. Their job is to spend all day searching for these special rules to lower your tax bill. But what about a regular person? A teacher, a factory worker, a nurse, or a bus driver? They earn their salary, and the tax is taken directly from it. They don't have a team of experts. They pay tax on the money they earn from their hard work. Is it fair that they pay tax on their full salary, while others can use complex rules to pay much less? I believe that is fundamentally unfair. My proposal is simple, and it's designed to fix this. What if everyone, from the richest CEO of a large company to the student working their first part-time job, paid tax on their total income? No special deductions. No complicated rules. If you earn an income, you contribute a fair percentage of it to society. This system is easy to understand, it's transparent, and most importantly, it's fair for everyone. When everyone pays their fair share, the government has more resources to invest in our country. This isn't about punishing success. It's about strengthening the foundation of our society for everyone. That money can be used for things we all need. It can build modern schools so our children get the best possible education. It can fund our hospitals so we can take care of the sick and elderly. It can help us improve our roads so travel is safer and faster. It can build better public transport, helping people get to work and reducing pollution. These are investments that help every single person in our country. Now, some people will hear this and worry that it means higher taxes for them, but that's not necessarily true, and it's a common misunderstanding. If we make the tax base broader, meaning we tax all income, we can actually lower the tax rate for everybody. Because more income is being taxed, the percentage rate can be smaller to collect the same amount of money. The key is that we all contribute fairly, without exceptions. It's time for a simple, honest, and fair tax system that we can all believe in.
Leo, thank you. Maria speaks about fairness, and I agree that fairness is an important goal. But a smart tax system does more than just collect money. A truly effective system helps to build a strong economy and encourages citizens to make good decisions for themselves and their communities. That is the real purpose of tax deductions. Let's be very clear about what these deductions are. They're not secret tricks or loopholes only available for the rich. They're well-known, legal, and public tools that are available to everyone to help them get ahead. For example, as you mentioned, I'm a small business owner. My business has 3 employees. Last year, I bought a new computer and updated our software to make our work more efficient. The government allows me to deduct that cost from my income. Why? Because it was a necessary expense to run my business, serve my customers, and keep my employees working. If I had to pay tax on that money, it would be much harder for me to invest in my business. That means it would be much harder to grow and harder for me to hire more people in the future. And this isn't just about business expenses. The government gives you a tax deduction when you save money for your retirement. This encourages people to plan for their future, so they're not dependent on the government when they're older. This is good for them as individuals, and it's good for society because it reduces the pressure on public services. It helps people build their own security. The system also gives you a deduction when you donate money to a registered charity. This is incredibly important. It encourages private citizens to support organizations that do wonderful work in our communities. These charities feed the hungry, provide shelter for the homeless, and support the arts. They're a vital part of our social fabric. Removing all of these deductions would be a very serious mistake. It would hurt small businesses, which are the engine of our economy, and create the most jobs. It would discourage people from saving for their old age. It would dramatically reduce the money going to charities, forcing many to close. These deductions aren't problems. They're smart investments in a better, more prosperous, and more caring future for all of us. A smart tax system is a helpful one. A simple system that ignores these things would be simple, yes, but also damaging.
Thank you both for those very clear opening statements. You've defined the debate perfectly: simplicity and fairness versus a system of targeted support. David, let me start with a question for you. Maria argues that the current system is fundamentally unfair because wealthy people can use these deductions more effectively. They have the resources to maximize every single rule, while an average person might not even know the rules exist. What do you say to that specific point about fairness?
I absolutely understand that concern, Leo. The tax code can feel complex and intimidating. But the solution isn't to demolish the entire structure just because it needs some cleaning. The answer is to make these helpful tools more accessible and easier to understand for everyone. We need to improve them, not remove them. Many deductions are designed specifically to help middle-class and working families. For example, there are deductions for the interest you pay on student loans, which helps young people manage their debt. There are deductions for childcare expenses, which help parents afford to go to work. These aren't for the super rich. They're for everyday people. The goal is to provide support where it's needed. Perhaps what we really need is better and more accessible financial education in schools and communities, so everyone knows what tools are available to them. We shouldn't get rid of the support just because some people don't know how to access it.
Maria, let me turn to you. What about David's point on small businesses and charities? He argues that removing deductions would directly harm these vital parts of our society. Is there a risk that in trying to create a fairer system, you would accidentally cause a lot of damage?
That is a very important question, and it's something I've thought about a lot. I agree completely that we must support our small businesses and our charitable sector. They are essential, but a tax deduction isn't the only way to provide that support. In fact, it's often not the most efficient way. We can create a system with direct grants or special funding for new businesses, especially in important industries. For charities, the government could offer matching programs where it matches every dollar donated by the public. These methods are more direct and more transparent. The problem with using the tax system for everything is that it becomes a messy, complicated collection of rules. And whenever you have messy rules, powerful people with good advisors can use them to their advantage in ways that were never intended. A simple tax system separates two different government functions: collecting money and providing support. This makes both processes cleaner, more honest, and ultimately fairer for everyone.
But Maria, what you're suggesting, direct government funding means creating more bureaucracy. It means a committee or someone in a government office decides which business gets help and which one doesn't. That can become very political. Tax deductions, on the other hand, are democratic. They're based on rules, not on someone's opinion. If you meet the criteria, If you spend the money on your business, if you save for retirement, if you donate to a charity, you get the deduction automatically. You don't have to ask anyone for permission. That gives power and autonomy to the individual, not to a government official.
I see your point, David, but I believe it's a false sense of power if only a small group of people know how to use the rules effectively. That's not real democracy. A simple, low tax rate system gives real power back to everyone because it's clear, it's predictable, and it's the same for the entire country. You earn $1, you pay the same tax on that dollar as everyone else.
Let me jump in here. David, Maria's plan involves lowering the overall tax rate by taxing all income. Wouldn't that simplicity benefit your small business? You'd spend less time on paperwork and less money on accountants.
It's true that less paperwork is always welcome. But the key question is, what is the final tax bill? A lower rate on a much larger amount of income could easily mean I pay more tax, not less. Right now, I can reinvest in my business and lower my taxable income. This helps my business's cash flow and allows me to grow. Under Maria's system, every dollar I spend on a new machine or on training an employee would be taxed first. That's a direct attack on growth.
But David, the money you get from that investment is also income. My system isn't an attack on growth. It's a belief that all economic activity should be part of the same fair system. The government can still support growth through other, more direct programs if it chooses to.
We're almost out of time, so I'd like to ask you both for a brief closing statement to summarize your position. Maria, please go first.
Our debate today comes down to a simple choice. Do we want a complicated, confusing tax system that creates advantages for a small number of people who can afford expensive experts to guide them? Or do we want a simple, transparent system that everyone can understand and trust? I believe we must choose the second option. By taxing all income at a lower rate, we create a system where everyone contributes their fair share. This allows us to build a stronger community with better schools, reliable healthcare, and modern infrastructure for all. It's the honest, the simple, and the fair thing to do for our country's future.
Thank you, Maria. And now, David, your final thoughts.
Tax deductions aren't loopholes. They're crucial investments in our society's success. They're the tools we use to encourage positive actions, starting a business, creating jobs, saving for the future, and supporting charities. Removing them would be a step backward. It would punish ambition and hurt our economy, affecting the very families we all want to help. A smart and compassionate tax system must do more than just collect money. It should help people build better lives for themselves and their communities. Let's improve the system we have, not throw away the tools that, while not perfect, work to support and strengthen us all.
Thank you, Maria, and thank you, David, for a very insightful and important debate. You have given all of us a lot to think about. On one hand, we have the powerful call for a system that is simple, transparent, and fair for all citizens. On the other, we have the strong argument for keeping tools that encourage economic growth and personal responsibility. It's a complex issue with no easy answers. That's all the time we have for Money Matters. Thanks for watching.